6:30 on Wednesday morning, the 23rd. I'd like to call to order the CRA meeting. We have a quorum. Mr. Director, do we have any agenda modifications for this morning?
No, sir.
All right, we're on presentations of the Greater Frenchtown Southside Greater Citizens Advisory Committee. Mr. Cox.
Yes, I do not see Mr. McQueen, so we ask.
If he makes it, we'll come back to him.
Thank you, sir.
Sounds good. We're on 3.02, Downtown Redevelopment Commission.
Yes, Mr. Kyle Phelps, Chair of our DRC, is here to make a presentation.
Kyle, good to see you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Floor is yours.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Again, Kyle Phelps, current chair of the DRC. So quick update from our last meeting, a couple main things that we went over. We had an unagended speaker, just kind of a high-level overview of a group called Slider that's looking to come to town, that was looking for funding of $25,000 from the DRC to kind of have electric vans, Teslas, kind of an Uber service to bring people into the downtown service, kind of a free for the rider type of proposal. Early on, so it was just kind of a presentation to us to let us know what they're trying to do. So we decided to leave that with staff so staff can determine, is this CRA eligible, what's the best source of funding, and then kind of bring it back to us if it's something that fits within that program. Second thing we looked at was Argonaut Coffee, which I think you guys are familiar with, kind of Cascades area underneath AC Marriott. They have a project, interior, exterior renovations, total project cost of $437. The grant request that was sent in was for $101,813, so it checked all the boxes. Great presentation that we had, so it was approved unanimously for approval, recommended approval from you guys for Argonaut Coffee. And then the final thing we really spent a lot of discussion on was amendment to the existing programs, looking to see how do we make this more accessible, easier to apply for some of the DRC funds. A lot of good discussion on that, still in the works, so the plan on that is to bring that back to the August meeting, to the DRC to go over again. And I believe the plan is bring it then to you guys at the August meeting. High level, that's kind of what the DRC covered.
That's great. Glad to have Argonaut down there at Cascades, another business down there. That's great. Any questions for Mr. Phelps? Hey, great. Appreciate you. Thank you. And remind the members how much we appreciate y'all volunteering your time. Okay, do we have any other presentations coming for the board this morning?
No, sir.
All right, we're on public comment on agenda items. Do we have any public comment?
We do have at this time one speaker card on agenda item. I have a card for Mr. Stanley Sims, agenda item number 302. Your name and address for the record, sir, and you have 3 minutes.
Excellent.
Stanley Sims, 1320 Avondale Way. Mr. Mayor, just to echo Mr. Phelps, we did have a very robust conversation. And in light of those conversations, and I just kind of brought it to him, we would also like for the CRA to look at, and I don't know the appropriate name for it, but when there's an emergency such like the tornado, how the Kona, the tourist development, were able to go back and look at some emergency funds where they could change some of the provision and grant funding that is already out there. So to apply, to help ease for owners and small businesses in such of a disaster. Mr. Cox, I'd like to add that to my list as we look at other things that we can do to help our small businesses, especially those that are living within the CRA. Another issue of concern that I have, and at this point, it is just an issue of concern. We are moving forward with making things easier and more uniform, but in some of our processes, as we showed that popped up in the last meeting, when you look at the downtown area and then you look at the Frenchtown or the Barn community, we're not really comparing apples to oranges when some of the things that are looked upon in the grant process. So I'm not convinced yet that it's all going to be easier and smoother, because when we were talking about funding and those kinds of things, and I don't want to name drop, but some of the people on the board had some valid concerns about when we make heavy investments, we want to kind of secure and maintain those investments as much as possible. But when you're in the Frenchtown area what I explained to the board, and your funds are limited, all of your money is to meeting codes, making sure the electrical guy is paid, pastor. But when it comes to, and please don't take this in how it was saying, the priority of making a nice billboard on the outside, getting landscaping on the outside, those are some very crucial areas that the local government play, and I just don't want those acts minimized or made more complicated for small businesses to access. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker, please.
I have no additional speaker cards at this time on.
All right, moving forward, we're on the consent agenda.
Move consent, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Any further discussion? All right, seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of the consent agenda being approved signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, passes unanimously 5-0. Mr. Cox, we'll go back to presentations.
Yes, sir. Mr. McQueen with the CAC is here to give you all a presentation.
McQueen, thank you for joining us. It's good to see you.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, Chairman, Vice Chair, CRA members. In our meeting that took place on April the 8th, a couple of days before the storm that flood that we had when it hit Tallahassee, we had a presentation from the Tallahassee Housing Authority on the on the south side, the new South City project, the Orange Avenue apartment at Columbia Gardens. And they went through and gave us an update on phase 1 in this current capacity and current status, and phase 2 and the upcoming phase 3. As you know, we've given them over $4.5 million, excuse me, in CRA dollars to help with that project. $1 million in phase 1, 3.5 in phase 2, and we have currently $1 million in reserve for phase 3. They've exceeded their MBE goals on that project, which is a great accomplishment for that project in this area. I'm not sure if they have a presentation on that or not that goes over what they show, but this was a copy of the, excuse me, the presentation that was presented to us at the meeting. Next item we went over at the meeting was the staff presented and went over the new project funding programs. And the 3 programs that were identified as interior renovations, be eligible for medium and large projects between $50,000 and above, dollar for dollar match for projects up to $50,000. And we also discussed, did not discuss any standing programs for the guidelines for the large scale projects. Some of the concerns we had was the MBE participation, of course, for those projects. We also talked about the non-matching dollars, or providing business with non-matching dollars up to $10,000. And we looked at or asked for some clarification on the affordable housing guidelines and who gets funded for those. Some of the other concerns that were brought forth at the meeting was some concerns about the community benefits, as well as we also talked about having the developers come and participate or work directly with our Neighborhoods First programs on projects that are in those areas where the Neighborhood First programs are currently active. Let's see. Future agenda items we discussed was potential presentation from the city UPPI department. We also have a presentation coming for us from the Bond Community Health Clinic for funding at our next meeting in June, and information regarding engagement opportunities for online surveys for the CRA Downtown District, create a 10-year strategic improvement plan for the Downtown District. And some of the questions that were brought up for future ideas, or ideas that were brought up from staff or from the committee members, was applying for funding for retrofitting existing legacy homes in the Frenchtown, Griffin Heights area, and with the Department of Energy, Ms. Collier Brown, she brought up some concerns she had with the Frenchtown area, around the Virginia Street, Tennessee Street area, with all the construction we have going on there. One of the concerns that I asked, or requested I asked as chair, was to get an update from our neighborhood first plans, both Greater Bond and Frenchtown, to see where they are. And Mr. Demerol brought up a master plan for the south side, South Monroe area, to get a downtown strategic plan to see what that stormwater activity is going to look like going forth. And we adjourned our meeting, and was it. Any questions?
Right, that's great. Any questions? Great presentation, appreciate it. And please, as I told Kyle and his committee, please let the committee know how much we appreciate y'all volunteering your time and serving.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, back on the agenda, we are on Greater Frenchtown Southside District Policy Formation 7.01. Mr. Cox.
Yes, sir. Thank you. As you all know, last year, the Tallahassee Housing Authority came to us asking for $1 million for Phase 3, which is senior housing, 90 units. It was a commitment letter of $1 million for a application they were going to apply for the low-income housing tax credits program. They did not receive funding. They scored 6th. The funding covered the first 4 projects, so they are going to apply again. They are asking that we allow them to use the commitment of that $1 million again for this next round of applications. So there's no additional money needed. It's already been budgeted from us. So essentially, if you all are comfortable, we're asking for approval for them to use that commitment letter.
All right, any discussion? Commissioner Williams-Cox.
I would just move that we continue that level of commitment.
Second.
It's been properly moved by Commissioner Williams-Cox, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes unanimously 5-0. We are on Downtown District Policy Formation and Direction 8.01. Mr. Cox.
Yes, we have a presentation from Sherry Curtis regarding the grant request for Argonaut Coffee.
All right, it's good to see you.
Thank you. Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, Mr. Chair and CRA board members. We have a presentation today from Argonaut Coffee, LLC. Argonaut Coffee has applied for a medium redevelopment grant in the amount of $101,813 for exterior and interior improvements to their Cascade Park location. The location of Argonaut Coffee, as we've indicated, is in Cascades Park. It's hard to see here, but they are the first retail tenant in the Cascades redevelopment project, and they're located adjacent to the CRA public parking garage across from the AC Marriott Hotel. Argonaut Coffee was established in 2019. It specializes in coffee drinks and locally baked goods, as well as breakfast and lunch menus. Their first location was at the TOC Tallahassee Orthopedic Clinic. They also opened 2 additional locations, one at Goodwood Museum as well as Midtown, before opening their 4th location at Cascades Park. Argonaut is the first retail tenant in the Cascades redevelopment, which says a lot for them taking the chance and the risk of being a first retail tenant in this development. These are some pictures to show you what it looks like currently for Argonaut Coffee Shop. Right now, the interior location, the interior of the building looks like this. They're proposing to put an interior brick wall of thin brick opposite the counter, and we do have a slide to show you what that looks like. And this is what the exterior of the coffee shop looks like currently with the outdoor seating. They're looking to put in a pergola over the outdoor seating, as well as an awning over the front entrance of the location with LED lighting. Again, just a listing of the proposed improvements: the pergola over the outdoor seating, the awning installed over the front entrance, and the interior thin brick for the grant that they're requesting of $101,813. So here's a picture of what it would look like once those improvements are completed. That's the thin brick. That thin brick is matching the brick that's on the existing development outside of the building. And then here's another slide showing you what the outside of the improvements would look like with the pergola over the outdoor seating, as well as the awning on the the front entrance of the coffee shop. So some community impacts are just being the first retail tenant at the Cascades development, the location of visitors that could come and try local drinks as well as baked goods, and a gathering place for local government employees, students, and visitors alike. And with this concludes our presentation. The staff's recommendation is to approve the grant in the amount of $101,813 for Argonaut Coffee for the exterior and interior improvements. And also, just to let you know, Mr. Jason MacArthur, the owner of the coffee shop, is here, and we're here to answer any questions that you may have.
Great. Jason? Hey, you have the floor. Do you want to say anything? Thanks for investing in Cascades Park. We appreciate it. Okay, let's.
Option number 1 is recommended by staff.
Second.
Mr. Chairman?
Option 1's been properly moved by the Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by Commissioner Williams-Cox. Discussion. Commissioner Porter.
Thank you for the presentation. What is, I was looking through the project costs. What would be the cost of only the outside improvements?
So
Do we have that number?
I don't have that number in front of me.
$90, so the bulk is outside, okay. Do you have any other renovations planned for the business?
My understanding is
this?
there are no other improvements planned for the business. Most of the improvements, a lot of the build-out was done before they moved into the building, and now they're just trying to finish everything up to enhance the current interior and exterior of the building.
And I did review the documents, and it looked like some of them, can you correct me if I'm wrong, most of these are cosmetic, but are any of them kind of functional beyond cosmetic, like necessary repairs, like bringing something up to code or something that's dysfunctional?
No, it's a new building, so there are
Right.
no code improvements that need to be done. Most of the improvements are the aesthetics to improve and enhance the interior and exterior of the building.
Okay. Well, first I want to say I live just down the street. I go to Argonaut Coffee. I'm a big supporter, and y'all opened on my birthday last year. I guess I'm a little hesitant just because of the conversations that we've been having about whether we want to see a return to something that we've had in the past that is a loan program rather than a grant program, and whether these dollars, although I feel this is a worthy project, could be better spent where an area is more blighted, really, really needs the repairs. So those are some of the concerns that I have, although I think this is great, and I could support, I mean, in concept, in theory, I'm supportive, but I just have, and I recognize the DRC's unanimous approval, which goes a long way for me as well, but those are just some of my concerns, or my thought process.
Commissioner Matlow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the same as the last project we had that came after it was built out, when did we receive an application for this project originally?
Cox.
Do you have the actual date by any chance?
The application was submitted by March 28th.
Okay, and when was their build out complete, or when did they open?
They opened in September 2023.
Okay, I mean, the same as the last project, when we're looking at paying people retroactively, giving grants for work that has already been complete, that's already open, I think it's outside of the the way we should be doing things. So just, again, there's no policy. It opens the door for any business within the district, no matter how long ago they opened, to come and ask for grant funds. If there was a conversation about what is outstanding, the pergolas outside, and how we can fund additional, I would be open to having that discussion. But the same as the restaurant across the street, I can't support, once a project is done, then coming and applying for grant funds and being awarded them.
And just to be clear, sir, some of the work has been done. The elements that we talked about, the brick facade and the outdoor, that has not been done yet. So I just wanted to clarify.
Commissioner Mallow?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Cox. And that's what I was saying. If we were receiving applications for additional work, I mean, I think it's around $100,000 of outstanding work, if I'm spitballing, from the 90 plus the inside facade work, and what portion we would want to cover of that. But the item before us contains the whole $400,000 build out that was done last September, and that's my issue with it. You know, we've invested significantly as a CRA in Cascades Park, the building that this is in, the Edison, you know, all around that area, even across the street at the brewery. And the idea is to recruit private investment to come in and pair with the investments that we made. So as we keep backdating these investments, I'm going to continue to not support them. If people have a new idea and need our help to open a new business and address blight in a certain area, those applications I'm willing to entertain, but not this one. But I do appreciate, I'm also a customer of Argonauts. It's nothing personal against the business. It's a great space to go to. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Ms. Curtis?
Board Member Matlow, the programs that we're working on to modify, currently, our current programs allow us to go back six months of improvements that were made,
Right.
and they can use that as a match, and that's what we did in this particular program. But the programs that we're looking to modify would remove that from our applications, so we wouldn't run into these issues in the future once those programs come to you all, and if you all approve those.
Okay.
Motion's been properly made by Commissioner Williams-Cox, seconded by the Mayor Pro Tem. Commissioner Williams-Cox, you're recognized.
I just wanted to come on and just say thank you for coming in to make this investment, being the first.
Yes.
Many of you heard me talk about Emily. Emily is early money is like yeast. And so early onboarders will hopefully let others know that it is safe to come and set up your retail. So thank you for being the first. And also thank you for coming with a sizable investment of your own. You didn't come here to ask for money to get started. You came to ask for money to help you finish. And I can certainly appreciate that when I see that you only asking a grant a fourth of, somewhere around a fourth of what you've already invested. And I'm going to support that every time if I can, because we want to make sure that people want to start their businesses and come with skin in the game, and then come to government to help finish or to help support. And that's what I believe we should be doing here. The downtown CRA of trying to get businesses to come and be a part of the downtown that we're trying to build is exactly what we should be doing, and to also make sure that there's not blight. And when you have a beautiful place like Cascades, you got empty space for retail and there's no retail, that sends the wrong signal. So I'm glad that we're beginning to fill in with retail, so it looks like it's robust. I sat on the planning commission when the Cascades Park project came to us way back when, and I was assured that in Cascades Park I would be able to buy ice cream. So now I can buy coffee. I'm looking for that ice cream shop that will be coming to Cascades Park. So thank you for bringing the coffee first.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I too want to commend the owners of Argonaut for taking that risk and being the first in Cascades. I had a meeting just yesterday, as a matter of fact, with Mr. Matthias, hope I pronounced his name correctly, the new executive director of the Downtown Improvement Authority. And one of the things we talked about was expanding the reach of downtown, and that would include Cascades Park and building that walkable, that 18-hour walkable downtown that we have talked about for years now. And this is part of that. And given the fact that our policy now says that a business can apply for those funds retroactively, we should not hold that against the business. They've done what they were asked to do, and within the timeline that they were asked to do it. We are looking to bring private businesses to the downtown area, commercial businesses, to create that walkable 18-hour downtown that we all want to see. And this is a part of that. And so I think we need to be clear in how we're supporting those efforts going forward under our current policy. When it comes back to us and we change the policy, then, that's a different issue. But at that point, everyone understands what the requirements are. And so at this point, we should not hold it against a business that certainly met the criteria. It was recommended unanimously by the Citizen Advisory Committee for downtown. And I think we should provide them with the support that they need in order to continue a successful business. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Porter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. How many retail tenant spaces are there? How many are occupied by retail?
I don't know that right offhand, but I can get that information for you.
But like ballpark, it's not that many, correct? I'm just curious.
And I know this may be hard for you to see, but the green spaces that are on the first floor level, those are all retail spaces that are highlighted in green.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion on the table signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes 4-1 with Commissioner Matlow in dissent. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Welcome to Cascades Park. Thanks for investing. We're excited to have you there. Okay, we are now on both district policy formation and direction.
Yes.
9.01, Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. What I wanted to do is go over the projected budget for for fiscal year 25. I'm just waiting for the clicker.
Come on, Vanna.
All right. So again, this is a projected fiscal year budget for the CRA, both districts. For GFS, these are preliminary numbers, but between reserves and revenue, we should have $1.7 million. We have a contractual commitment of about 1.2 and non-contractual commitments for 4.1. Non-contractual, those are our investment, our assistance programs, things like that. So our infrastructure projects that we're recommending, those are the items that are in the non-contractual agreements, commitments, There's a fund balance of around just under $1 million if all of those things are approved for GFS. For downtown, there is a budget amendment, a couple of those for fiscal year 24. The Global City project that you all approved, 300 workforce housing units. The developer won't be getting the money now. They should be getting it closer to 26. So we've changed the budget to reflect that. The TM Street Partners, that's the Morgan & Morgan building on Tennessee and Monroe. We are paying the full amount that we owe them this year to be done. So this will be our final payment instead of stretching out another 3 or 4 years. So those are reflected in this fiscal year's budget. For downtown for 25, between reserves and revenue, we should have around $7.3 million. We have a fund balance of about $2.6 million of unallocated funding. We are currently in a process of getting feedback from the community regarding our 10-year strategic investment plan. We'll have more information for you all later on this year, but we essentially will have a better idea of where the community wants to put those dollars. So that 2.6 won't be uncommitted forever. So again, this is a preliminary budget. We are going to be taking it both to our citizen advisory groups, and that'll reflect any changes that you all will see in August. Do you have any questions on anything?
All right, are there any questions on the proposed review? Keep in mind, this has not gone to the Citizens Advisory Council yet, so we're way at the beginning of this process, but just for the purposes of the proposal as it was presented. Okay, the recommended action is to accept the presentation.
So
and the
moved.
proposal.
Second.
Okay. Properly moved by Commissioner Williams-Cox, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem. Any further comment? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes unanimously 5-0. Excellent. We are on public comment on non-agenda items. Do we have any public speakers?
Oh, we have a few. The first speaker card I have is for Ms. Eltonia, followed behind Mr. Kayla Norris Barber, followed behind Ms. Jacqueline Perkins. Name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes.
We have a total of 3 speakers?
An additional speaker as well, Mr. Elias Evans.
4
So
speakers?
far, yes.
Okay. Name and address for the record, please. You have 3 minutes.
Good morning. My name is
morning.
Miltonia Chandler, 524 North Martin Luther King. I'm here this morning formally naming the Frenchtown Heritage Hub. The Frenchtown Neighborhood Improvement Association requests your consideration for naming and dedicating the building to James A. Bellamy. Mr. Bellamy is one of the founders of FNIA, who has spearheaded in growth development as the sole commercial kitchen in the Tallahassee area. Under Mr. Bellamy's leadership, he has initiated the Frenchtown Farmers Market, Kitchen Share, and many federal funded programs. We now have 3 active ones currently. That's the Farmers Market Promotion Program. We have Thrive, and also the Healthy Food Initiative. His commitment to the historic Frenchtown neighborhood fueled his passion to grow the FNIA into a permanent presence in our community. We want to honor this commitment. I request to name the building the James A. Bellamy Heritage Hub is to pay homage to a local leader that spent his latter years of life investing in the Frenchtown community. We trust that this honor will touch many throughout the years and be a permanent marker for who come under new leadership. Let us come together to recognize the labor of love for the Frenchtown community, exemplified in Mr. Bellamy's establishment of the FNIA, and to honor his body of work and vision for a lifetime. I'm asking that you all consider, now on our signage out front, it's Frenchtown Heritage Hub. So my request is for it to say James A. Bellamy Heritage Hub. So the organization is not changing. The name will still be Frenchtown Neighborhood Improvement Association. We're looking at just the building to be named after. Thank you.
Thank you. Have y'all submitted that formally in writing
Yeah, I
yet?
was going to ask that same
Yes.
question.
I did meet with Mr. Cox on yesterday. So
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, just our executive director, what would be our process for making that happen? I think it's something that we all could support. Jim has been tremendous in not only advocating for the Frenchtown Neighborhood Heritage Hub, but the Frenchtown community generally. He's committed a lot to that, and I think it would certainly be an appropriate recognition of his effort in that area.
Yes, sir. My understanding is that there isn't a formal process that the city has. And again, this building is owned by the CRA. The intention behind what you all have indicated to us is that in about 2 years, the building will be essentially sold to FNIA for a nominal price. But they will own and manage the property moving forward at that point, which they are currently operating out of. So if you all want to, you definitely can allow that to be, the name could be changed.
Mayor Pro Tem, I think it's appropriate. Hey, Rod, y'all gonna have another CAC before our next meeting. Will you go ahead and put that on your agenda?
Yeah.
Do, let's send it through the process, and then it'll be on our next agenda.
Yes, sir.
Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Commissioner Williams-Cox?
Thank you. I wanted to say, too, that I can absolutely support that.
Yeah.
Mr. Bellamy probably knew me before I was born, because he played football against my dad. My dad played for Carter Paramore and Quincy, and he played for Lincoln. And then they ended up playing on the same football team at Albany State. And so when I met Mr. Bellamy, my dad introduced us before he left for heaven. And so I think it would just be, it would make all of us really, really proud to recognize this local hero who left Tallahassee, went to college, and ended up in Washington, D.C., helping to set policy and programs in Washington, D.C., and then coming back home to make home better. And I know that he has worked his fingers to the bone to try to do that. It has not been easy. It has not been easy, but he's not a guy that you push around either, as we've seen. So I'm looking forward to the opportunity to support this.
Sure.
Excellent. All right, our next speaker, please.
Next speaker we have is Mr. Kayla Norris Barber, followed behind Ms. Jacqueline Porter, followed behind Mr. Elias Evans and Mr. Stanley Sims.
How about Ms. Jackie Perkins?
I said Perkins, what did I say? Porter. I'm just not doing a good job.
All right.
Your name and address, you have 3 minutes.
Kayla Norris Barber, 527 West Brevard Street. Actually, I stand before you in support of Ms. Chandler's request to name the Frenchtown Heritage Hub in the honor of Jim Bellamy. He's done a tremendous amount of work in Frenchtown and was the initiator and creator of the Frenchtown Heritage Hub. And more often than not, we honor folks after they're gone. And I think it appropriate that we give Mr. Bellamy the appropriate recognition and his flowers while he's still living. And I want to add that maybe if you don't know, he's presently in ill health, and we're praying for his recovery, but we really would like to honor him before he dies so that he can feel worthy of all the work that he's done. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, please.
Jacqueline Perkins.
Uh-oh.
Your name and address for the record, please. You have 3 minutes.
My name is Jacqueline Perkins, 1618 Keith Street and 3437 Blue Jay Drive. I'm here this morning to just thank Mr. Cox for providing us with a copy of the revised schedule of the activities reflected or related to the RFP for the Bond Community Heritage and Resource Center. I received that yesterday, didn't get a chance to send something back to let you know it's been received. Dr. Vanessa Williams, who is our interim president for the Bond Neighborhood Association, will be replying on behalf of the residents and stakeholders. We look forward to working with you collaboratively on this vital project. I have 2 requests, and one of them is, I did talk with Sherry just a minute ago. As I reviewed the 2023 annual report, I was looking for line item detail regarding the $250,000 allocation for the match for the special categories grant. It may be in the 22 budget, but I'd like to request a copy of that. Also, the line item budget reflecting the allocation or the reallocation of $302,020 for the Heritage Resource Center. Not sure where I would find that, but you know we did go through that exercise and reallocated funding for that. The other thing is that I had an opportunity to speak with Attorney Norvell, and I am asking if you all will let us know when you will provide a written statement regarding the facade grant allocation for the churches. And I did provide case law. We talked about it, and we'd like to get started with talking with the churches. Thank you.
Our next speaker, please.
Next speaker, Mr. Evans, followed behind him will be Mr. Stanley Sims.
Your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Elias Evans. I live at 1320 Hernando Drive. I'm a veteran. I'm down here representing my neighborhood association, Alberta Empire. and we've been going to meetings, and I guess we're late to the dance because we didn't know what was going on in the activities that the CRA had to offer. After we started investigating it, we found out that the businesses down off of Lake Bradford Road, which is adjacent to our streets, they had got CRA funds. You know, I don't know what the yellow mark is or nothing. I don't know how they determine it, but we are in the CRA zone. But the homeowners didn't receive any funds or didn't receive any, like, I'm looking at the Neighborhood First program, we're not a part of that. And then our adjacent communities, the Bond community and the Providence areas are part of that, but we weren't a part. And we're just as needing as them. And I guess some of the people in our group want to know, is there going to be a redrawing of the line, or is it some possible way that we can liaison with somebody to give us a better understanding of how this works? Because we're just now getting into this.
Great questions. So number one, your liaison is sitting right here. Mr. Stephen Cox, he's the executive director of the CRA. Number two, we have not had a recent conversation about the redrawing of the lines of the CRA boundary. We have in the past, historically, but I'm looking down the row. No, we haven't had one recently, to answer your question. That's your liaison. As soon as we're done, Mr. Cox, if you'll go introduce yourself, that'd be great.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Sure, Mayor Pro Tem.
Is Alberta in the
No,
CRA
sir.
district?
No, sir. Hernando and Alberta, essentially the frontage along Lake Bradford is in, but everything
okay.
beyond that is out. So all of the residential is out, but the commercial corridor of Lake Bradford is in.
Okay. All right, our next speaker, please.
Last and final speaker card I have is Mr. Stanley Sims.
Stanley Sims, still at 1320 Avondale Way. I would just be remiss if I did not speak in favor of renaming this building. Mr. Bellamy, when I was a shorty, that's what we knew, Mr. Bellamy. Get to Mr. Bellamy. You need anything, holler at Mr. Bellamy. And what I love about this here, Commissioner Porter, this is the type of things that you, Commissioner Madlow, we talk about. When you talk about the prevention of gentrification in a neighborhood, these are small steps that stop that. Because I was listening to Commissioner Cox's story about Mr. Bellamy. His daddy knew, so it was like a legacy thing. Go down there and meet Mr. Bellamy. Go tell Mr. Bellamy. And Mr. Bellamy was not a man of great means, just a man of great pride and compassion for his community. That's a legacy worth preserving. And no matter what you do, you can't stop, you can't ban this Black legacy. But my grandmother used to say, what's in a name? Good God from Almighty. When I walk down these streets today and I look at different names, my son may hear of Mr. Bellamy, but when he see his name on a building, it provokes thought, it provokes conversation. And where is that? In the land where they play, in the land that they walk to school to, in the land that they go get groceries in. That preserves my legacy. And I'm excited today that somebody with a big heart, low budget, can still be recognized in America as a game changer. And Ms. Porter, you're right. Don't you underestimate Mr. Bellamy. You've seen him come in here on his cane. I said, Mr. Bellamy, how are you doing? He said, I'm in a lot of pain. He said, but this got to be done. I called Mr. Bellamy one time. Folks would say I was crazy and acting. He said, Clean the blood off your knees and get back up, son. That's Mr. Bellamy. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Our next speaker, please.
Mr. LaRoger McQueen. Name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes. Say it again.
Can I speak in my capacity of chair or as a citizen?
Citizen.
Okay. Well, Roger McQueen, 4115 East Bugleview Way, Tallahassee, Florida. You said I can speak in my capacity?
Yes, go right
So
ahead.
as the chair of the Greater Frenchtown Southside CRA, I agree and support the renaming of the Frenchtown Heritage Hub after Mr. Bellamy. And I guess my question, more so than a comment, do we have to wait till our next meeting to make that decision, or can that be done at this meeting? I'm not sure if that's
Yeah, I'd give,
protocol or,
I think we need to give the entire committee the opportunity to weigh in formally with a recommendation to
okay,
come before us.
all right.
But Mr. Chair, he can call a special meeting. Did he
right.
not, Mr. Cox? Call a special meeting to do that, to expedite the process.
I guess I'm more concerned with this health. I just
I
want to make sure we get
understand.
this
That-
captured.
That's why I'm saying that. Go ahead and call a special meeting
Okay,
and let's get it moving.
Yeah,
okay,
That would be
Consider it
my,
done.
that would be my recommendation, because I do know that he is very ill.
yeah.
okay.
Excellent.
Thank you.
When is our next meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to go ahead and get that.
All right. Do we have any other public comment?
No
No, sir.
additional cards.
Okay. Anybody got anything for the good of the order?
I can go after. I did have.
For the good of the order? Sure, Commissioner Matlow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just listening to the conversation. Would it be acceptable, Mr. Cox, if we gave preliminary approval pending approval of the CAC
No.
to move forward with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to support it when it comes back, so.
You can't do that.
Now, hold on. I don't think it's appropriate. If anything, look, there's other ways to handle this, and we also can call a special meeting if need be.
Right.
But let's let the process play itself out, okay? Mr. Cox?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So yeah, I understand, I think we all understand the situation at hand.
Right.
And I think we're all committed to making it done, but let's just make sure that the process is done appropriately.
It would be appropriate to take board action to give direction to
No.
do it. I don't think that would.
Mr. Mayor, on point.
On point.
We're not saying that it wouldn't be appropriate, but we're setting a precedence.
Right.
And we have to remember, as much as we want to do this right now, I want to do it right now. But then when the next one comes, we will have set a precedence that we would then have to do that. And you know, this is a CRA, but at the city, we also do namings of buildings. And we went through a long process to do that prior. I absolutely want us to go as expeditiously as possible, but I also got to think about the next one that will come, because we want to treat everybody the same, because otherwise we'll get in trouble.
Commissioner Matlow?
That was it. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else for the good of the order?
I just wanted to say too.
Mayor Pro Tem.
And not to belabor the point, but I don't want to see us circumvent the CAC. And it can be expedited. We can call special meetings to get that done, but I think we need to follow the process as it's outlined and give the community an opportunity to have input as well. But it's clear that we all want to support that, and we'll support it when it comes back to us. But I don't think we should circumvent the process that we've got in place.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Anything else? Ladies and gentlemen, we stand adjourned.
I thought Mr. Cox had something.
Mr. Cox?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I just wanted to, we have our newest member of the CAC, Sherry Morris, in attendance. I wanted to make sure that you all have a name and a face. She is our newest member. She's representing the South Side, South City in particular. And so I just wanted to welcome her officially to the CAC.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for serving. All right, we stand adjourned.
What is the guy's name sitting